How's it going, everyone? It is the Mac and Murray College Football Show. We're going back to the film room this time. Carson Beck for Miami. Should he jump into the first round? Is he a second round guy, third round guy? We have a bunch of clips, going to be breaking down the film, giving you our honest opinion of is Carson Beck a future franchise quarterback in the NFL? If you missed it, we broke down Ty Simpson a week ago. Should he be the number one quarterback taken? Should he not? We answered those questions on the previous show. So if you've not seen it, go back and watch that breakdown right now. But this is the Carson Beck Show. For those that have followed Mac and Murray, you know that I've been a big fan of Carson Beck for a long time now. You know, my boy E-Mac over here has also been a big fan of Carson Beck, what he's been able to do. He said it last year in the summertime, one of our first few shows. He was down in Miami and Coral Gables and said, watch out, Miami's going to be legit. Carson looks great. And what do you know? They end up making it to the national championship. So, E-Mac, your floor is yours first. I mean, your eyes were terrific a year ago when you said, hey, looks great. Arm looks great. All that. Had a really tremendous season his first year with the Hurricanes. When you assess Carson Beck as a quarterback, what do you like? What do you don't like from the big guy?
Yeah, my one correct take from a year ago. So I'm doing good, right? Like at least you got one, and he was in the biggest game, which is always super important. But I think what was the most impressive to me about Carson, not only early, but as you got to know him even more, and what his teammates, kind of identified in his coaches early on, is this dude has a PhD in pass pro. Like he is so smart, and he was trained by the best, who's now the head coach of the Browns there. I don't know if you guys know that, kind of a big deal. But he has been so ingrained and instilled with pass protections and a pro model and understanding where he's protected, where he's not, how he can adjust and change that, how he can motion a guy in to get some extra help, whether that's a tight end or Miami would block with their receivers too, kind of a cross block there, split zone type of look. He is so good at that. And I think that is going to be something that gives him a nice leg up wherever he gets drafted on a guy, whether that's fighting for the starting spot or fighting to be, that true backup who plays for 20 years, and is right there and having a really good career. So that to me is what will separate him very quickly. I think then it comes down to footwork and being able to just be used to being under center, being very comfortable, again, in a pro-style offense, maybe that some of these other quarterbacks not so much or haven't done it as frequently, as he has, specifically Fernando Mendoza. I think that'll be an adjustment, for him. So just that, the cerebral part of it to me, Aaron, is what makes him very attractive and makes me think that he's ready for this next step.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of things in his favor. One, he is a beautiful looking athlete, especially from the quarterback perspective. He's all of 6'4", 235, 240, big lower half, and throws a beautiful football. Like if you put all those guys side by side and had him throw routes on air, you probably would say Carson just looks a little bit different than the rest. The way the ball comes out, how effortless it looks, the way his, obviously, like I said, his physical stature, he looks the part of an NFL quarterback. The way he operates inside the pocket. You said it. You're going to see a lot of under center, play action pass, standing tall in the pocket, be able to get up and over defenders. His ability to check the football down, be accurate with the football. When Carson is on, Carson's at elite level. There's a reason why a year ago they were talking about, or a year and a half ago, they were talking about Carson projected to be the number one quarterback taken in last year's draft. He checks off a lot of big time boxes, and then he's played a lot of football. The one thing that we talked about with Ty Simpson a week ago is 15 games. Is that enough to really get a full feel of what is he going to be like in the NFL? Is he ready to be a day one starter in the NFL, or does he need 2 or 3 years to get some reps, whether it's in games or preseason, before he's mature enough to go out there and play? Carson has played plenty of football games, and he's played, like you said, with Todd Monken. He's played in pro-style offenses. He's ready to go. So he's one you draft tomorrow. He could be your day one starter if your team needs it. So I think those are the pauses when we talk about Beck. The one big glaring negative is the turnovers. Yeah. And as a quarterback, you're always taught the number one thing for the quarterback is protecting the football. Do not put the ball in harm's way. And when things are going great, it's elite, like I just said. But all of a sudden, when things start to go bad, it seems like they go really, really bad. Turnovers come in bunches. It's not just one interception. One interception in the first quarter turns into 3 interceptions by the end of the game, turns into 4 interceptions. And that just cannot happen at the end of the day at the NFL because you and I both know it. College is different because these, certain teams are just so good that they're going to win no matter what. NFL comes down to a handful of plays.
Yeah.
And if your quarterback throws an interception or 2 interceptions, that's the difference between winning and losing a football game
Mhm.
at the highest of high levels. So that is my one big
Yeah.
red flag for Carson. Anything else I'm missing
Well,
from your perspective?
I think that's justified, and I think
Yep.
the interesting thing with the turnovers that they are in bunches, when they happen, and it just felt like at Georgia that last year, a couple of
Mm,
times here in Miami before they really flipped it around is, Carson just felt like he had to do too much for whatever reason. He was pressing the issue, trying to be Superman, and he's not that, and he doesn't need to be that at the next level. You've got dudes everywhere
yeah.
in the NFL. Everyone is the best of the best. And so what I think will help him is specifically at his time at Miami is he was asked to just run the system. When they got hot, when they went nuclear and went all the way to the national championship, he was playing within the system. And you and I
Mhm.
have had these conversations as well. He might not have the flash, but you
Yeah.
said that's because he wasn't asked to be flashy.
Yeah.
He was just asked to operate the system. How much to you and the knowledge that you have of NFL evaluators will they look at that and be like, I wish he had more 20+ yard throws? Or they're like, he wasn't asked to do that. This is
Yeah.
what he was told to do.
Well, I think you made a great point there. I mean, Ty Simpson was asked to do a lot more. They didn't have a run game to support him. And just the way they had to operate offensively was we had to create explosive plays. We had to create explosive plays in the pass game. If you watch Miami, that's not who they were. Their identity was play slow. It felt very much, we said it all season long last year, every time we watched the Miami tape, was it felt like an NFL football team.
Yes.
From what they did defensively to how they operate offensively. It was run it was play action, it was take completions, it was get first down, it was own the clock. It was wear teams down both sides of the line of scrimmage for the offense and defense. And that translates to the next level. So there wasn't as many flashy passes, but there was still enough of, I've seen him throw the big dagger route. I've seen him
Right.
throw the go ball. I've seen him throw the post. We're going to show a bunch of, ability to get the seam over, get the deep crosses over, all things in the NFL that he's going to be asked to do. Yeah, it wasn't last season as many as maybe Mac threw because he wasn't asked to do it, but there's enough to say we've seen him do it. We
Mhm.
saw him do it at Georgia over 2 years, and then we saw it at Miami. So it wasn't in a one season, kind of bubble, but over 3 years, there is a plethora of throws of him
Yeah.
making that you say translates to that next level. So let's dive into the tape. We got some really good stuff. Obviously, we got some bad stuff as well from Carson, a little bit more bad than what we had for Ty a week ago. And that's, like I said, going to be the big question about Carson heading forward. So let's dive into the tape a little bit. So we're just going to be a scissors concept. So you're going to get a post on the outside. You're going to a corner route by the inside receiver. And I would have liked his footwork to be a little bit cleaner here, but it shows you that he can still make throws from awkward positions because as a quarterback, the pocket is never perfect. You want to be
Mhm.
able to kind of get your feet in the position. We talked about Ty Simpson last week, how good he was at doing that. I think Carson's footwork is just as good as Ty's, but this demonstrates the ability to get the ball up and out. And we always talk about layering the football over defenders, showing off some arm strength as well from an awkward position. Working with inside the pocket, this throw up and over, up and over. I mean, that is a tight window right there, EMAC,
Mhm.
between 2 defenders in which this ball is high. It could be an interception. If it's too low, it's tipped, can also be an interception, but it's able to get up and out. And like I said, even from an awkward position, he's able to make this throw to not a very big receiver. I think this is Tony
Sure.
here as
Yeah,
well.
Tony.
So this has to be even more pinpoint accuracy, and he's able to do that. So really liked this throw from him. Let's see if we get to the end zone as well. Play action, up
It's a heck of a
and
ball.
over.
I like how he rides that play action out there.
Yep.
Let those DBs, let those linebackers see that, get their eyes down, and then to be able to put that right in the perfect spot, man. It's an impressive throw.
All right, let's go to the national championship game. And this is something that we also talk about with Carson, his ability just to get through reads. One of the big knocks about Fernando Mendoza is, with the offense he has, he doesn't really have to go from side to side as much, where Carson's having to read full field for, reading left all the way back to right or right all the way back to left. And this one right here, just watch his eyes. He's going to work this concept up here. It's just a little go with a stick. Possibly could put it on Tony, but he's a little afraid this corner squatting here in that cover two. And he's just going to work his way all the way across the field for the completion. So bam, 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 and then finds the completion.
Yeah.
And not a lot of guys in today's offense, especially in college, are asked to do
Right.
this.
Right.
It's one side reads, it's RPOs, it's hand it or throw something quick based on the coverage. And Carson's able to read it, get through it, keep a good base, and throw an accurate pass
And
for
just
the
how
completion.
calm he is, man. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what's so impressive. This guy's just he's experienced. Watch his eyes here, as Aaron has said many, many times. He's staring to the left. The guy's changed the protection up. He's looking over there, going through his reads, and he's not panicking. He's not getting,
Nope.
those happy feet. I love the base and I love the tenacity. Once he sees it, man, he's ripping it.
All right, back in the Indiana tape here. All right, play action, deep cross. This is beautiful. This is the NFL stuff. You say like, oh, we don't. Where was this? All there's plenty of this. Plenty
Mhm.
of this play action. Push the ball vertically down the field. And the back end zone view of this is going to be absolutely beautiful. Play action.
Mm.
Look at that. Stands tall in the pocket. I mean, that is not a big window right there. It's 7-on-7. Back hip, and he's able to put this ball in a spot that is absolutely perfect. You'll see a little bit better from the high end zone view. But this is high quality. Not a lot of guys can do this with this kind of accuracy. I mean, throwing
That's
away
a
from
heck of a
defenders
throw.
between three guys. I mean, that's
Yeah,
as good as it gets right there.
really, and even a shallow corner. I mean, really, 4 guys, he's dropping
Yep.
that ball in the bucket.
All right, last one here from the Indiana game. Just seem, and this goes back to, like he said, his eyes, being able to manipulate defenses. You got 4 verticals, as you see. He wants to be able to move this linebacker, knowing it's single high coverage, one high safety. We're working both of the inside seams. So we want to hold this safety in the middle of the field. We also want to make sure this linebacker doesn't creep underneath it as well. So his eyes are left, knowing that he's going to come back and rip this seam before anyone can make a play on it. Eyes are left. You see that? Holds the safety here, holds this linebacker in the middle of the field, and then comes back,
Mm.
one hitches it, and puts it right on the dot.
And facing pressure. I mean, he's staring it down. He knows he's protected, and he knows he's going to the best player, on their team here. It's calm, cool, collective effort from Carson.
Boy, you said about Georgia too a year ago. I mean, I went back and I was watching some tape. We're gonna have one Georgia clip here from last season or 2 seasons ago, and just the drops, man.
Oh,
37,
yeah.
38 drops. It was crazy, and it's hard to play quarterback when one, Georgia's run game wasn't great, and two, they had receivers dropping passes left and right.
Mhm.
Look at that. Stripe of
Look
the
at this
helmet was
throwing lane.
left. Oh,
It's
yeah.
a heck of a pocket.
Oh, it's a
Golly.
beautiful pocket.
Yeah,
Accurate
that's a
pass
great
once
ball,
again,
man.
and a great ball from Carson. All right,
Uh,
let's get this is the interesting game, EMAC, because I remember when I did the film breakdown of Louisville after the game, I was
mhm.
like, man, 90% of this game was elite from
Oh,
Carson,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
elite. But it goes back to the big turnovers. And that was the difference in the game. It was a lot of really good plays. Like that first interception was a tremendous, tremendous, play by the safety over top. There's some really good stuff defensively, but still, man, you cannot have games where you're throwing 3 or 4 interceptions. All right, this is another one. We're gonna fake toss to the running back and just watch his eyes. Fake toss, gets his eyes up quickly to make sure that safety stays in the middle of the field. And then he's going to rip the seam right after it. So just his ability to do multiple things, play action, locate safeties. He's a big guy. He can see the field. He can see safeties. He can see rotation, and then be able to, stand tall and then make the pass as well. And look at that, up
Mm.
and over. Once again, like these are tough throws, getting it, with enough velocity to get over linebackers and then put it on the receiver in time to make a catch before the safety can make a play. But watch his helmet. Watch that stripe on his helmet. Play action, holds that safety, one hitch, and that ball's
Gosh,
out.
it's a heck of a throw.
Bam. It's up, it's out, EMAC.
Yeah, that's man, this dude's good.
All right. This is I will say this. I think I think he's a strong arm. I wouldn't say it's like Josh Allen elite.
Sure.
There were times last year, and he's coming off a pretty significant injury. There were times in which I thought there was the deep ball died on him a little bit.
Mhm.
You saw it on this play right here. the national championship, the last play of the game, I don't know if he was trying to fire it in there between the cover 2 safety and the
I think he
corner.
got tricked on that play.
Yeah, he
That's what
got tricked a little bit. But so there was a lot of times where that ball just felt like it was
yeah,
dying a little bit on the go balls. It's just
sure.
give me 5 more yards, 5 more
Yeah.
yards. And this was an example of one bad decision. This corner does not take the bait. As you said, he's very good at taking checkdowns when things aren't there. And this was just one of those games where he got caught trying to be Superman, as you alluded to, and
Mhm.
then the ball was just underthrown and turns into an interception. So
Yeah, I mean, it's not triple coverage, but it kinda is, and,
yes,
he's off
he just didn't
balance, his
bite.
feet are all over the place. I mean, he has no power, and it was a greedy play. It was a greedy play.
Yeah, a little bit too aggressive of a play action. I
Yeah,
wanna
I mean,
when
he's
I
checking to it.
when
He
I play
thinks
action,
he
you don't
sees
need
something, you
yeah,
know?
your feet don't have to go that crazy. You let
Yeah.
the receiver do a little work for you as well. But
Yep,
this is a
checking
great thing too,
again.
like, you see it, he knows protection. He's gonna get himself protected, play action,
His feet weren't
and
as
just
bad as
the
I
ball
thought, but
dies right there. It just
yeah, he's
dies
gotta
on
get
him.
it outside, high and
Yeah,
outside. Receiver did a great job holding that red line. You have
yep.
room. You just gotta throw it better.
Alright, just kinda reiterating the point real quick. When the bad happens, it happens in bunches,
Yeah.
and you can't turn you can't turn a bad play into a catastrophe. You can't make a bad play worse, and this is an example of it's not there, pressure in your face, he's trying to be a hero and make an unbelievable play, like, right there, eat it,
Yeah.
and it turns into an interception, especially
Yeah.
over the middle of the field. You can't make plays like that.
And even just like, I know it's third down, and you made a point about this is when it is third and long, you don't necessarily have to throw the ball to the sticks. Like you have these two
Yep,
tight ends crossing. You get it to Big 87, who's right in his face right now. Who knows what happens? Who's
yep.
going across his face there? You get him the ball instead of, trying to force it in a window.
Alright, let's go back to a couple clips. Oh, we had this clip from the Ole Miss game now,
Oh, dude, this
and
right here. This is so impressive. Third down, you're losing the game, last drive of the game. And this is
rips it.
Carson's favorite concept to me.
Oh,
Walk
yeah.
us through what this concept is, Aaron.
Well, it's just a high low. You got some sort of shallow underneath route. You're trying to affect those second level defenders, so linebackers.
Mhm.
And if you feel like they creep up at all, once again, you have to have as a quarterback, it's so much easier to throw the ball to the outside. It's so much
Mhm.
easier to throw it because you see everything. It's less congested because you don't have defensive linemen, you don't have linebackers, you don't have safeties coming to the box. So for a lot of quarterbacks, it's really scary because you have to really trust your eyes and your film study and knowing that I can step into this throw and rip it. And obviously helps that Carson is all of 6'4". He can see a little bit better than say a Ty Simpson at 6'1", and he can throw this ball with that confidence. So he sees these linebackers settle at about that 5 to 6 yard, knowing that you got that dig route coming right behind it. So as soon as those linebackers settle right now, and obviously it helps. I think that it was Tony right there. So those guys,
Yep.
he knows that those guys are going to give him a little bit more of an eyeball initially, and then he steps into it. I think you're going to see a little bit better from the high end zone, and steps into this football and just absolutely rips this dig route. So yeah, the middle of the field, man. There's big pockets, but you got to be able to trust it.
Mm.
You got to be able to trust it. And right there, he sees this guy eyeing up
Yep.
Tony. He's coming downhill. He knows his safety's tight, and then just sees and anticipates this window to be able to throw the dig route. Bam!
And
And then
that I mean,
puts you in
part
the
of that's
perfect
the
spot.
power of Tony. Tony's
Yep.
moving 2 linebackers out of the
Yes.
way for him, and he knows that, and man, he's just going right to it.
All right. And this is just we talk about pro level plays that you can say, okay, bam, I've seen tape of him. This guy can jump into my system right now and play. Play action. You see him being tall in the pocket, moving up in the pocket. Tackles are going to keep pushing, 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 pushing. You need the quarterback to get his butt up in there. And like I said, some guys that are a little bit smaller are afraid to get up in the pocket because they can't
Yeah.
see. Carson doesn't have that problem. So play action, gets his foot in the ground, step up, step up, step up, bam. And look when he throws that football.
Yeah.
He throws that football before the receiver is really even out of his break
Yeah,
and
anticipating
is
it.
able to make the completion.
And that's the type of NFL stuff that some guys just don't have, man. I mean,
No.
you've gotta anticipate guys being open. You have to throw guys open and hit them before their break. I mean, this timing of this is sweet.
Well, small window too. And
Yeah.
we went back and watched that Ohio State game. This is one of the best defenses in the country a year ago,
Right,
top
right.
5.
Yeah. They've
And he
got
had one
3
of his
top 10
best
picks. I
games.
mean, it's nuts.
Yeah, he played The A&M game was not great because of, the wind. It was
Yeah,
30 mile
when
per
yeah,
hour winds.
yeah.
But down the stretch, if you watch down the stretch, when Miami needed to win games in order to make the playoffs and obviously get to national championship, Carson was at his best.
Mhm.
And I think that
Mhm.
says something too about him.
I agree.
When we need him to be elite, to be the Carson Beck that was a projected number one pick in the NFL draft, he showed up and he showed up in a really big way.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I've always been a big fan of him. I think he's a beautifully natural thrower of the football. I think he's got the NFL size, but you just can't turn the football over. So where does he end up? It seems like 1 and 2 are kind of set. 3, you got a couple guys fighting for 3. You got Nussmeier from LSU, who didn't have a great year last year either, a lot due to injury. You have Aller from Penn State, and you kind of have Carson. Like that's kind of the next tier of quarterbacks fighting for that 3 through 5 spot. I still think Carson. I would take Carson above those other 2.
Mhm.
I think he
Mhm.
checks off a lot of the boxes. He's played a lot of football. He's played pro style. He's made a lot of NFL throws. I think he's the purest thrower of the group. I think Drew probably has the strongest arm, but I think Carson is the purest thrower of all of them when it comes to making all the throws, and just his NFL knowledge. So I go Carson at probably that 3 quarterback, which means maybe sneaks into the late first round, but most likely somewhere in that round 2 range. Do you have him as well, that number 3 quarterback, or maybe 4 or 5?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm thinking, man. I think that he will be the third quarterback taken, and I think just kind of depending on where he is, where he excuse me, where the other guys get drafted. Like Fernando, we think is going to be number 1, but then where does Ty come into this thing? If he
Yep,
comes in earlier than expected, that's going to move everybody else up,
yep,
right? Like it's kind of a domino effect when that happens. I would not be surprised at all if we see Carson in the third round or maybe a little bit earlier, maybe in the back
yep,
of the second round there. So I think he's a really good player. I think he's elite. He's a winner. And again, all the cerebral stuff to go along with the physical attributes is a real plus for him, I think.
yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah, if Ty goes top 10, then all of a sudden teams are
Right.
starting worried about, like, it's not
Right.
a deep quarterback draft. If we want a quarterback, we might start coming up a little bit earlier, trading, possibly into the late first round, early second round to get a guy like Carson or Nuss, or Drew Aller. So that's the Carson Buck. Appreciate y'all watching. Like, subscribe. We're gonna be doing a couple more quarterback videos this week and next. Then we'll start hitting some other teams, or excuse me, other positions as well, leading up to the NFL draft. We'll also be doing some spring football, and talking about teams as well. So make sure you like, subscribe to the Mac and Murray Show to get all the content that you need this spring. Appreciate y'all and have a great week.
Okay.